Hey everybody, it's Kevin Deskins here with Midwest Photo. We are still working on our virtually cool Midwest Photo Feature Fair online edition. And all this week, we've been talking to photographers from all different directions and capturing all kinds of cool different types of photography. Today, we are talking with Leonardo Carrizo, who is a Nat Geo expedition leader. He is an instructor at The Ohio State University. And today we'll be talking to him about travel photography and telling stories. How you doing, Leo?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Good. Thanks for coming in and talking with us today. So let's kick it off. You're a well-traveled photographer. We have talked about this in classes that we've had here in our Midwest Photo Learning Studio. We have seen you on some of our YouTube videos. You've traveled pretty much every corner of the world. What would you say is your favorite destination?
Well, I have a good answer for that. It's the one that I haven't been yet. The
Wow.
destination, yeah, it's the next one. It's whatever the next country is, especially if it's
Okay.
a country that I haven't traveled to before. So that's always like my go-to answer because I know that that question is going to come up. And there's so many wonderful places in the world that it's very hard to pick a favorite. So my favorite
Yeah.
is the one that I'm going to go next because you get all that excitement of finding new people, the getting there, the getting prep, just trying to engage just before. So all that energy that comes before a trip, it's what I love.
Yeah, for sure. How many, out of curiosity, how do you know how many countries you've traveled to?
I don't really know, but I know the places that I haven't been yet that I want to go to. So Asia, I haven't been in Asia necessarily,
Hmm.
and I definitely want to go to Asia. Anywhere in Asia is great. I was going to go to Botswana over the summer, but because of COVID, that was canceled. So I'm
Right.
hopefully going to be able to make it there next summer, doing one of the Nat Geo student expeditions.
Nice.
So that gets me out and about a lot. So yeah, so definitely Asia. I want to go there.
Very cool. I've been, and it's quite beautiful. Both the urban environment and rural environments. Very cool. Um, do you prefer like like a warmer climate or a colder climate when you go to different places, or are you pretty even on that?
I'm pretty even. I typically, because I do the trips during the summertime, I usually go to warm weather countries, unless you go to the southern hemisphere when it's the northern hemisphere, the change of the seasons. But no, I don't mind. The thing is that I like photographing people.
Hmm.
So if there are festivals, which is something that I really like to do, most of the festivals are typically done during summer times, right?
Yeah.
So that's why my tendency would be to try to schedule a flight or a trip around maybe festivals when people are out and about.
Hmm. And these are mostly like cultural festivals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Any type of cultural representations. It could be
Hmm.
from anything or any type of cultural activity is it's what I like. It could be a big festival. It could be just a little community, get together festival in the mountains that nobody knows about it. I love those kind of things, but I love to find them as well.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of traveling and learning about new things as you go that nobody else knew about it. For
Yeah.
example, I'll give you an example. When I was
Yeah.
in Ireland a couple of years ago, I just so happened to be in Ireland, and I was on the west coast of Ireland, and they have smaller islands out of the west coast. And it just so happens that there was a Catholic mass that was done in like a medieval church cathedral that actually the roof fell apart, right? And people
Whoa.
used to live in the islands, in the small little islands, right, out of the mainland. And because of the government changed some rules and the conditions were not very good, those communities actually had to be moved to the mainland, but the church remained. So I just happened to be in Ireland this one time where there's this mass that happens only once a year, and the community,
Wow.
the little community gets together, and very few people know about it. And then there are people with boats volunteer to take people right to the island where you have this church. So I actually did the whole trip with people there,
Oh,
and there was like maybe
cool.
no more than 50 people all together, right? And just getting into this small boats and just traveling there. We had obviously the priests along, and they would just come in, and we got into the small island. We walked into this like church that's unbelievable with no roof. They gave the mass, right? People took communion, and then we were back on the boats and back into the mainland. And again, that only happens once a year. So
Wow.
yeah, those kind of things like that, I love them. I love
What
them.
a cool experience, man. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Did you capture anything there? Or were you there purely for experience?
No. Of course, I photographed it. So I
You had
photographed.
to.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. That was a story that came up. And one of the things that, this is kind of like a general tip because we were on it, right? In terms of how do
Yeah.
you find out the local activities? Because you might know about the big festivals, right? People
Sure.
might go to a country for big festivals, but how do you know about the local stuff? Well, it just so happens that I was staying there with local people, but there was a small newspaper in the town that I was in. So what I did is I just visited the newspaper, right? And it just so happens that I'm like, oh, I'm a photojournalist. I might do travel photography. I would love to talk to, the photographer that you guys have, for the paper, right? Because they know their community better than anybody, right?
Right.
So then because I was talking to the editors and then I didn't get to talk to the photographer there, but they gave me the name of the person, but they're like, oh, there's this event coming up. I'm sure that you're going to love it. We photograph it every year and our photographer is going to be there. So I made the connection just by going to the local newspaper and finding out, what's happening in your town. So
Nice.
that was kind of like, again, those connections and how do you actually open doors and find out new things that otherwise, if you just go to the town, there was no way I would have known about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a cool tip. And I really admire that about you as a photographer. And I've even mentioned this on our, here we've got a podcast for our store that Tom and I host. And that's something I've mentioned about you, that you don't just go and capture people. You go and you learn about people and you get to know people. And that's incredible as a portrait photographer and even as a travel photographer to get to know the community that you go to and capture and getting to know those folks. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, I think that doing research before you go helps a lot. Try to make
Mhm.
connections as much as you can. Obviously, you're going to learn about the destinations and you're going to have your favorite spots,
Right.
but you have to go a little bit deeper than that so you can actually go almost with a story in mind already, which it
Yeah.
might or might not happen, but at least it gives you a purpose. I don't like the idea necessarily of always just well, it's kind of 50-50, right? I love to discover things by myself, right? And just
Mhm.
like walk around and discover. But I don't think the entire trip should be like that, especially if you're working at it as a photographer, right? You kind of
Yeah.
have to go with a plan, right? You have to go with like, okay, I know that there's a story here. I'm going to, hopefully I'll try to connect with people even before I get there. Even if nobody knows me, I will send emails. I will just kind of like find out clubs, organizations, activities, anything, especially now with social media. It's so easy to
Oh
do.
yeah. Yeah,
And then you just reach out to people.
for
And,
sure.
at least you have some idea, at least you know that something potentially can become a story or a photo op that otherwise you didn't know. And then you explore by yourself and you find out
Yeah,
other things. So it's you make the most out of the time you have when you're abroad.
definitely, because you're not there for long at all.
Mhm.
So you're a world traveler. You obviously you've been to a lot of really cool places, and you carry your gear with you most the places you go to. Do you have a favorite like go-to backpack when it comes to hauling your gear?
I do. And it's a backpack that has been with me for over 15 years and I still
Wow.
use it and I have it right over here. So,
Okay,
and
so
it has little things from this is from Galapagos with the student from the Nat Geo student groups that we went and we did like
mhm.
a group activity and we had this little rope. We have all kinds of things that I customized. It's very, very old. It's a
Yeah.
kata backpack, but like it has all kinds of weird straps that I put and it's unbelievable. This thing has rolled down a mountain with equipment on.
Wow.
Survive. I've been in the rain. I can put a cover
Wow.
on it. And just to show you the difference, because I love this so much, I can put all kinds of stuff in here. It's easy to go on a plane. Nobody's going to ever ask you, and I have
Right.
like multiple camera like, microphones when I used to have microphones and, my laptop in here. But this is the old one, like again, over 15 years.
Hmm.
And I have a brand new one. You can see the difference between the old one and the new one. The new one hasn't been used. I don't have to use it, not yet. But
Now, did you buy them at the same time?
no. Actually, the new one was a gift from Midwest.
Oh,
So this is
cool.
this is actually one of the gifts that I got from Midwest.
Nice.
Um, because they knew that I love it, and we were talking about some equipment,
Yeah.
a while back. So I got the new one, but the old one still works. So I'm gonna,
Right.
keep using this one, and maybe in 5 more years, maybe I'll switch to the other one, and then I'll have the other one for 20 years.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm going to be shooting in the next 25 years, but I hope so.
What is like the important part of that, but other than carrying your gear safely and being able to customize it like you do, what do you find like important? Like, is it comfy straps? Is it lots of room? Is it like a tripod attachment piece on, like, what's the most important feature that you would look for?
It's very robust. I like the fact that it's very, very thick.
It's durable.
It's very durable. Yeah. It has like hard cover here, even the back, right? It's kind of like, it has a little bit of padding. The straps are very, very solid.
Right.
I love the handle as well, and the fact that I can add other things. It did have this little pocket thing for the tripod. It has little pockets on the side. So like I already have after 10 years with this thing, I have a system, right? So I have my SD cards on the side pockets. I have my batteries on the other one, so it's very easy to use them. And backpacks are not necessarily comfortable when you need to switch gear, right? They're very good when you're traveling, but it's not very good or fast if you need to change from one gear to another one, right?
Right.
One of the things that I like about this one is that I can actually do it very fast, because I have no problem of taking this down and throwing it in the floor. And I have no fear of like put it in the floor, in the mud, water, whatever it is. I can take my backpack very fast, open it up very fast, switch gears, switch lenses. Since I have done it for so long, it's very comfortable and easy to do, and I don't have to like be careful with it. I can just like take it off, drop it anywhere, open it, take anything that I want, put anything in, and it's going to be secure. It's going to be protected. So I that's why I love it.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Let's kind of switch gears here and talk more about your technique a little bit. When you meet somebody at a destination, tell me about the process. You talked about kind of contacting people prior and learning about maybe a club or an organization or a place, and emailing those folks or contacting them on social media. But when you get to a destination and you haven't had any contact with that individual, how do you tell me about your process of getting them comfortable with you capturing their portrait, if you're capturing an individual's portrait?
Yeah, I think that I have evolved from like the beginning to like what I do now and what I'm comfortable doing now.
Yeah.
And the best example that I can tell you is that at the beginning you go to a new place, you might go to a market, right? And you see a lot of visually interesting people, right? They have maybe their traditional customs or whatever they're selling is a craft, right? And there's a lot of action. And typically when I started, right, I would just shoot from far away. I would shoot with a long lens, right? I just wanted to capture the moment. But it's kind of like just a single shot, right? I see somebody, it's visually interesting, I'm attracted to them somehow visually, right? And I would take the picture with a long lens, and that's it, right? As I evolved as a photographer, I noticed that I wanted to do more. I actually wanted to find out more about who they were, so I needed to be closer. And I like that idea even more because I can get more shots. But for that, you need to gain trust. So what I would do is I would approach people and I would just start talking to them. I would ask them questions, their name, how long they've been working here, if they have help from their family members, right? And I just start a conversation. I show true interest because that's what I am. I am truly interested in their life and what they're doing and what they're selling, and and actually learning more about who they are, right? So I don't have to take any pictures at the beginning. I just need to have that trust, and I need to invest time. And I think people recognize that because after a while, if people recognize that you're investing time in learning about them and you can start that conversation, then the photographs will come in next, because they're going to go about their business and you can be there and you can also be honest. Well, I learned about you through visuals, through photographs. So, would you mind if I take some photographs? By that time, they already know about me. I know about them, right? And they might get a customer, right? And they might actually have to go in the back of the shop and do something, right?
Right.
But because they trusted me already and I already invested time, right, they're going to allow me to spend more time with them. So I'm not going to take a single shot, right? I'm going to do my photo package if I want, right? And they're going to be more relaxed. And I don't have a problem doing that, investing time, because I don't want to take anything away from them, right? So sometimes the idea of taking up pictures, that you take it and you go and that's it. I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm interested in actually learning about them. That is an investment of time. And people also know when you're trying to photograph them, and you're kind of like hiding behind something and you're waiting for the
Yep.
moment, right? And if people know from the side of their eyes that you're just trying to photograph them, they feel like an object, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want people to feel like that, right? Again, you want
Right.
to make a relationship, make a connection. And I think the best way to do it is by investing time in them. And then they're like, oh, okay, this is a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'll just hang out. They're hanging out with me. I'll hang out with them. Perfect. That has opened so many doors for me, that it's incredible. The more time that you invest, the more you will have people being relaxed, and the easier it is for them to actually open other doors for you. And that
Yeah.
also has worked a lot because maybe they say, well, you want to go for coffee, or I know this other person. Oh, you're a photographer and you're looking for this or you're looking for that. Oh, I know somebody, my uncle, my aunt, whatever, right? And that just opens
It's a good
all other
strategy.
doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that and from newspapers you get this, right? One story is not just one story. It should lead to other stories, right? So every
Right.
time you make a connection, you're building a network. So
Right.
that one person that you're photographing today is a profile perhaps, or a portrait, should for you should try to be like, oh, this is my little network. What else
Yeah.
can I expand from here? And again, if they trust you, they're going to do that for you. They're going to be like, oh, you might want to talk to my friend.
Yeah.
And then you're there.
Definitely. Have you ever experienced and that makes a lot of sense to get to know somebody and gain their trust and be genuinely interested in them and what they do. But have you ever had anybody skeptical of you? Where they're somebody who is very hard to get trust from.
Yeah.
And in a situation like that, what do you do? Do you kind of just let it go and say, you know what, it's okay, I don't want to bother you too much, or what's your approach there?
I think I think a lot of people, especially because many people in famous locations, right, in famous destinations, they know that they're going to have a lot of tourists, right?
Yeah.
And they know that there's going to be people, photographers want to take pictures, right? So they are already like tired of this, right? And even if you're trying to engage, even if you're trying to be as open, sometimes they're like, you know what? No, I know you're a photographer. You just want to photograph, and this,
Yeah.
and you just have to, it's their time as well, right? And again,
Yeah.
I think you got to respect that and go somewhere else, or just be like, oh, thank you so much, no problem, and just leave with a smile,
Yeah.
because you are representing other photographers, right? So if somebody opened the door for me, right, and I made a good impression, right, that means that that person might allow somebody else, right,
Hmm.
to photograph them. So it has to work the other way around as well, right?
Yeah.
You still have to make a good impression, and the person can say, you know what, I didn't let this person photograph me. They were talking nice and everything, but you know what, maybe the next person that comes around, if they're open-minded, right,
Yeah.
sure, maybe they're having a bad day, and that's okay. Everybody has a bad day.
Yeah.
One little side note to that: if you go to Cusco in Peru, right, if you go to Machu Picchu,
Yeah.
there are people they're expecting tourists, right? And they're in their traditional clothes with baby llamas, which are cute. It's like you cannot not want to photograph a baby llama,
Yeah,
right?
who's not gonna photograph a baby llama?
Right. So the thing is, they know, and the thing is, they're going to ask you for a tip. It's not free. They're in the street, but they're
Oh,
doing it
they're
on
they're trying to
purpose.
get money from you photographing them.
Right, right. So
Interesting.
they walk around, and they know, and a lot of people do it because, again, baby llamas are beautiful, right? So
Right.
I don't care if I need to give somebody like $1. And again, tourists do that. I'm not going to do it for work, but the thing is, people know that there's many people going. They know what the other people are looking for.
Right.
Traditional clothes, baby llamas. So then they're going to make a little bit of money there. And if you
Yeah.
don't pay them, they're going to be like, hey, where's my money? It's like, I
Right.
saw you. Even if you're doing it with a zoom lens across the street, again,
Yeah.
they're very good. They're going to notice, yeah, you took my picture, so come on over here and, give me
Yeah.
my money. So you have to also respect people, they're trying to make a living. So I think
Yeah,
that,
it's really a part of their economy.
yeah,
Yeah, trying to figure out a way to survive and make money, and that's a valid strategy. That's a pretty good idea.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think so. So yeah, baby llamas,
yeah, I would totally pay to photograph baby
Yeah,
llamas.
I know.
All right, so okay, so let's say you go on a trip. Um, what is kind of shifting back to gear here a little bit? If you had just one lens that you could take with you, and you shoot Canon, I
I
know.
do.
If you could only take one lens with you, what would be your go-to lens that you take?
Probably a 35 millimeter.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
35 millimeter. I like to get close to people,
Hmm.
so that would be like an everyday lens. I can live in 35. I probably even go maybe even a little bit more, a little bit wider. I can do the 24. What is it? The 1.2, right? They have a Canon
I'm not
1.2,
sure.
right?
I know you know what? I'll have to find out if there's a 30. I know there's a 35-1.4.
Right.
And I'm not sure if there's a 35-1.2. There might be in the new RF glass, which
The
you
24 millimeter, isn't there like a 24 millimeter, like wider than, or maybe just an f2
yeah,
24
the 24
millimeter?
I believe is an f2 or
It's an
2.8.
f2. So I
Yeah.
used that one before, and again,
Hmm.
that's wide, and I can live there. Yeah,
Yeah.
either 35. I'm okay with 35. 24 even better, a little bit wider, but yeah, 35. I'm golden.
Let's say it was a zoom lens. What if you couldn't pick a prime and it had to be a zoom? What zoom lens would you go with?
I'd probably go with the 16 to 35.
Nice choice. Nice
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
The 16-35-2.8 is a great lens.
yeah, that's probably what I have on my camera all the time, because it
Hmm.
allows me to, again, get very, very close. And if it's multiple people, and if I'm doing like a festival,
Hmm.
right, because it's so wide, you can actually create multiple layers, right? And I love that, to have a foreground and, a third person and a fourth person, and just work with all those layers, especially if you're in the environment where people are moving around. I
Hmm.
think that makes it very interesting, and allows you to, again, create an image that has a lot of depth,
Yeah.
because you have to make sure that everything's in the right place, and things are happening very fast. So I like that challenge of working a wide angle lens in small situations with a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Now, since we brought it up, I do want to ask you. Now, we're talking all about these lenses within a 35 millimeter format, so a full frame format. You're shooting full frame
Yeah,
currently, correct?
yeah.
What body do you shoot
I
on?
have a Canon 5D Mark III.
Okay, 5D3, got it. And you, and I'll also link this video for this, but you also helped us out with test driving the R5 before it came out,
Yeah, the
which was
R5, the
awesome.
RP, and then many other brands as
Yeah,
well.
you did. I think you did
Sony.
the 90D as well.
I did Fuji X Pro 2, X Pro 3.
Yep.
Even the Fuji medium format in Galapagos, the large one.
Oh, the
The what's
GFX.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll photograph with anything I get.
Yeah.
But what I have, what I own is it's Canon. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
Cool. So let's say you meet somebody on a trip and you capture their portrait. You've talked with them. You've sat down. Maybe you've had a tea or a beer, and you've heard their stories. And then you capture their portrait. Do you leave them with a print, or do you send them an image later? How does that work?
I will definitely send them a picture later. Now with social media, it's very easy to do. Back in the day with 35 millimeters, people will actually have, a mailing address. I mean, and you had to
Hmm.
go back, print it,
Yep.
and then send it, right? But right now with social media, it's very, very easy. And it all depends also, like the generation if you're talking about somebody who's younger, right? They're
Hmm.
going to have their phone right there, and they're like, what is your Instagram account, right? So
Yeah.
right there, you don't have to do anything else. It's like, forget email, right? But other people, I would just do email,
Yeah.
and then I will send them an image. And I do try to not send a small resolution image, but also to do like a large resolution. And I
Hmm.
will include that in the image, in the email,
Hmm.
because most of the times what I do is I send them a link so they can download the image from my website, because they can
Got it.
have a larger resolution image. And I
Yeah.
will let them know. It's like, hey, I have this image. It's already ready to print. You can download it. It's like 300 resolution. Take it anywhere. Do your like 11 by 14 if you want, or whatever
Yeah.
they want. Which, again, sometimes people might not. They might want to use it only for social media. But at least I make the effort to let them know that I'm sending them a file large enough for them to do whatever they want with it. If they want to make it big and print it and have it, on their home,
Hmm.
I'm happy with that. And if they want to, use it smaller for social media, that's fine too.
Cool. And so you usually send them a file, which makes a lot of sense because it's it is hard for for photographers to both travel and find somewhere reliable to print. I know some photographers will sometimes they'll take like an Instax printer with them and print off a very small like Polaroid style image because they've got usually they can move the image over to their phone via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and then print it off from the printer. But do you ever and I have seen your work, so I know you do print some of your work. When you do print your work, whether that's for a gallery or if it's for your own, like I see a photograph behind you right now. What's your like? Do you have a favorite size? Do you have a go-to size? Is it dependent on what it's for?
It depends on what it's for, right?
Okay.
I mean, I think that that there's the funny saying, right? If you want your images to look good, just make them bigger, right? Because then people are going to be impressed just because it's a large image. Not necessarily it's a better image, right? If it was smaller, but it has that characteristic, right? So the last couple galleries that I done, the gallery shows, I work within the space that I'm going to be showcasing, right? And I will design the layout based on the space, which means that I will know how many walls are there, the size of the walls and the size of the print. So I try to do like a visual narrative with the images based on the space. So some of them are going to be very, very, very big. And other ones are going to be smaller. Again, I try to package and design the layout. So I don't use one size for any exhibition that I do. I do a combinations because I'm more concerned about the space and the way they're going to be placed together in some type of narrative for the audience to explore and experience the exhibition.
Right. Makes sense. Now, since you have printed with us before, and we Midwest Photo Picks, we offer both, or really three options: matte, glossy, luster. Do you have a favorite? I know some photographers are really finicky about finishes when it comes to printing. Do you have a favorite finish?
I think luster.
Luster?
I like matte, but from black and white when I used to print. But if it's for like more for a show, I like luster. Glossy might be too much. The prints that I have done lately are they don't have a glass frame, right? A glass protector, so it's just the print. So if it's gloss, if you grab it, you're gonna have fingerprints.
You get those fingerprints.
Yeah, and then the light's gonna bounce all over the place depending on the windows and so forth. So if you get a luster, I think it kind of like helps protect it a little bit. And it still looks good. I think it still looks great for an exhibition when people are going to get very close to the images because there's no barriers, no separation.
Right. And I going back to what you just said, I totally agree. And I was the same way when I was in college and doing photo work. I would always print my black and white work on matte. And it would sometimes upset the professors a little bit because sometimes they called for like the pearl finish, which is like a luster. And I don't get me wrong, I like the pearl, but I would die for matte. I was a matte printer through and through.
Yeah, matte in fiber-based paper.
Oh, fiber-based all the way.
It has to be fiber. Yeah,
gotta be fiber. Gotta be fiber. And don't run the fiber through the dryer.
No, can't do that.
We had a few students cause fires that way.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, as you know, as photographers, we often splurge and give ourselves our own gifts. We buy our own cameras, we buy our own lenses because it'd be kind of strange and a little expensive for our friends and families to try to buy those for us. But I know you've got photo friends. I'm sure you've had assistants too. What's something that you could pick up from our store that would be a good gift, maybe even a stocking stuffer for as a thank you, or as just a hey, thanks for being a good friend. I know you're into photography. What's something you would get here at Midwest that you think would be a good idea as a gift?
I think that's a common problem to have for people who have friends or family members who are photographers. I think the easiest thing to purchase as a gift that they will use is an SD card. I think it's great to have SD card, new SD cards, and it's practical. It's very useful. You cannot go out, I think, with enough SD cards just in case, and you can use them for so many other things. So that's going to be my first to-go easy gift to give a photographer, just a very basic thank you, and I know that you shoot here, go take some more pictures, right?
Yeah.
The next would be some type of filter for their cameras, for their lenses. It could be something very easy, like a UV filter.
Yeah.
to protect the lens. So if they don't have a UV filter on all their lenses, they should. So that's something, again, it's practical and it's useful, and it's going to help them out. It could protect their gear that they're investing a lot of money.
For sure.
Then from there, I will just keep moving it up a little bit to say, well, maybe a circular polarizer. That's very nice. Something, again, very useful. You're taking landscapes, you're taking portraits, you're doing street photography. You can still take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And then the next one up would be like a big stop neutral density filter, like a 10 stop.
Mhm.
So then they can actually create those images with moving water or moving clouds. And I think that that's just like a very easy thing to do. I use it all the time, even though I'm not necessarily a landscape photographer. But regardless of where I go, I'm going to take that filter with me, and I am going to make some long exposure shots. And they look beautiful when you get them right. And if you're doing it during the day, you need to have that filter to be able to do it properly.
For sure. And to the SD cards response, both great gift ideas, by the way. To SD cards, I think that's great because I think non-photographers and photographers alike could use those. There's such a wide variety of people that use those types of cards, and photographers may not realize that you should be recycling your SD cards quite often and rotating them out because over time they can go bad. They're not built to last forever. Most electronic things are not designed to last forever. So I think it's a really good idea to help somebody along and getting them those proper SD cards for sure.
Yeah, and I can tell you what my mentor told me when I was taking pictures with 35 millimeter film, right?
Yeah.
It's like you cannot have, it's like going to war and you have to have enough bullets, right? And for us, for the photographers, our bullets is our frames. So have as many frames as you can, so you can go to war, so you can take your photographs. So an SD card for me is that equivalence that I know that I'm going to be able to continue to take pictures, and that's what I love to do.
For sure. And that's a great piece of advice right there from you said an old professor. You froze. Oh man, what is going on with the internet?
You like if you're drunk. It probably it's my internet. Probably, I don't know. I gotta pay more money.
And to the just real quick on the filters, I think that's a good idea too. But if you don't know, the sizing of the filter that you need, we offer gift cards here too. So, you froze. Oh, there we go. You froze, but it's okay. We have gift cards here that you can get so that your photographer friend can get the right size for them. So I think that's both are excellent gift ideas, and I think if somebody is Leonardo's photo friend, I'm sure they're looking forward to a filter or a new SD card for sure.
Yeah, and actually, the design of the gift cards that the Midwest have are awesome. So because they're not plain gift cards. They are like custom made by Joshua, right?
Our graphic designer Joshua.
I don't want to give them away. I want to have just a collection of them.
I know, right? We've got one that's I shoot raw, and it's got shoot raw, and it's got sushi on it for raw, which is clever.
I love that.
All right, Leonardo, I got to thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate your time today. I know we had a few technical difficulties there at the end, but I'm sure it'll work all out and people will watch just the same. Thank you for being an awesome photographer, awesome customer, awesome friend here of Midwest Photo. And we'll have all of these videos up on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram, and on our Facebook page if you want to watch all of them for our virtually cool Midwest Photo feature fair this week. We hope that you guys have enjoyed these, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.